Today we are here with the number 23 candidate on the UP slate, on the United People Party slate, for the upcoming parliamentary elections, Mr. Silvio Matter.
Thank you very much.
Silvio, thanks for being here. We want to, everybody know your face, everybody know you, but I'm sure a lot of people's like, Silvio running? So.
How is that possible?
Yeah. So I guess the first question that a lot of people would want to know is, why is Silvio running and contesting the election?
Well, the reason I'm running is that, I've been behind the political scene for about 20 years, behind most of the major parties.
Right.
Push them in a way, hoping to see a change in a different way for a lot of small people, because my business is construction, always been, in dealing with small people and people who want to see opportunity in St. Martin. But being in the field and looking around, you saw the balance was not the right way. Many times, which I worked on most of the major projects, so I was happy to be a local who has contributed very big time to the island, especially in jobs towards a lot of locals and so. And I always had a very directive way of thinking that if the local can't do it, I best I don't do it. So all my management and everyone was locals. I always maintained that. Whether they didn't study for it or not, I tried to educate them. I always had a program that even people that came out of jail, I tried to recruit them back, that they don't end up back in jail and so. So that was always my goal. But over the years as we went, we saw a lot of big changes happening in St. Martin. A lot of different parties promised a lot of these small people great hope, but guess what? Brought them to the promised land, but the promised land was only stale milk. It was never the milk and honey that they was hoping to see. So at a given moment, a lot of people ask me, why don't I run? Because I know everything. I know a lot how government runs from behind the scenes that I was at no. So they say, why leave your country go down? Why don't you step up to the plate and do it? And discussed it a lot, thought about it a lot, and decide, you know what, I can't leave my country go down. Let me jump on board with our party and give to you like a helping hand,
Right.
And let's get this country moving in the right direction. So that's the reason.
Now, why is the green team a good fit for you? You think?
I will say the up team. Why is it fitting for me? The up team is the way how we grew up in St. Martin. It is more focused on business, and then once you focus on business, it eventually business takes care of the social part. If we become too social, our country goes down because we are all oriented in business.
Yeah.
So if you try to change a system, it goes in such a turmoil that it destroys the economy.
Right.
And that's the problem what we got right now. And looking at the up is the one that looks more business oriented. And that's how we all has grown up, business oriented. Whether we start a little business, whether we selling bubble gum or we doing a big thing, we were all business oriented. So the other parties are more social. They became very more 90% social, 10% business. And once they became that, you notice poverty is growing big time in St. Martin because of that, because there is not enough economy going on. So that's the reason I chose up.
And needless to say, from that, the economy is something very important to you. That would be one of the issues you'll be addressing.
That's one of my main issues I'm focusing on. The leaders also on that, but bottom line, you can in a democracy that we live in, it's so complicated with all the rules and regulation from Holland. It's not that one person can push. So sometimes it gets so bureaucracy on it that one person is so caught up just getting one project done. You need other people who's capable of doing other projects. Always been on projects, working on projects. So at the end of the day, I will be working towards that. I have a lot of foreign investors that eager to come to St. Martin. They just want to know is when are we going to be open for business?
Right.
And once the people give the outright seat, this country will be back open for business, and then you'll see business run on this country one more time again the way it should be.
Right. What about diversification? Like say, the tourism product, for example. That's something on your mind.
Yes, there's so many different ways of making income, and that's the sad part why I really even got more in depth to get to run, because every time we have a deficit on the budget, it's always, let's raise some gasoline, let's raise the vehicles, let's think about putting a little extra on a license. And it's the same thing, burdening the people, but they're not looking outside the box, how to create things. Because you can't get them wrong. Most of the people right now, for example, who is in power in that ministry, they came out of the government sector.
Yeah.
So they won't know how to look outside the box. So I can't blame them. They may be very great as a civil servant, but if they don't know how to look with areas which part you could get more revenue for the island, then you can't blame them. Right. So it takes people like us to get on board, put our personal life aside, and let's rock and roll with this country. And trust me, there's so many different things out there for us to make so much revenue for this island that people have another clue. But I will not address it now.
Of course.
Because there's certain things. Yes, there's a lot of time we'll be able to bring it up.
Right.
For example, one thing I feel we never got a hand on is I think we are the number 2 destination of private jet landings in the world. Yeah. If you look at it, we do 1,500 private jet landings on Juliana, while Charles de Gaulle does only 800. But we never think about private jet registry. We never think about those things. Aruba just started, and I think Aruba have 80 or 40 planes, something like that. And already they have a revenue of 10 to 12 million flowing just on those regular planes. Imagine us. Yeah. You understand? So just that's just a small touch of what all we can cater towards.
Yeah. So your private sector experience is basically one of your strengths.
One of my biggest strengths, yeah.
All right.
And also very lot of contact with a lot of people who lands here but goes into St. Bart's but will prefer to be here. But St. Martin is not ready the way how they will want it to be yet. Yeah.
Now, you're also known for, you mentioned it earlier, giving people chances.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people in St. Martin maybe sometimes may look down on that.
Yep.
But why is that important to you personally, to give these people chances?
I always remember my days in Holland. No matter what, that I came from a black mom and a white dad, but in Holland they look at you as a Caribbean man, no matter what. And when you start to go and look for jobs, you always have that first thing that they have to say, are you different, you know? So whether a lot of people don't like to speak up about it, it is how it is, you know? But so always being in that position where you have to prove yourself so much, I always feel like if I ever in a position that others people have to come at me in this position, I have to give them the opportunity. Right. So that's why I never look down at no one. Whether they have nothing in their life or they are billionaire, for me there's equal, they're just human beings. That's always been like that and always be like that. And I think once you'll be able to balance out in that way, then you can give anybody opportunity. And me and you was talking off the record about this. Yeah. The sad part in St. Martin today, it's only about destruction. Yeah. It's not about people enhancing people about what building they do good, building up. It's only about destruction. People applaud when people are going through misery, and not people applaud when people are going through success. And more we notice that. And if you want to notice that, take a drive during the day, which I do. I always make sure I drive the whole island. Every day I do that to see what's going on in the country. And if you see 2 people out of everyone driving smiling, you call me. So sad this island is at the moment.
That's a good point.
Because no one is smiling in their cars anymore. Because before, which I'll talk how the street talk, before people said, boy, in the 80s, you know, people say, oh gosh, I have things great. Yeah. People said, St. Martin's a little New York. Yeah. That's how people used to talk. Then, as we got to the 90s and Hurricane Lewis hit, and after Hurricane Lewis hit, people say, I'm hanging in. Now, people say, I don't know how I survive. Yeah. So after that, you know what comes? After that comes full poverty, and after comes misery. And when there's misery, it's a sad thing. So I have one thing that people always say. If someone is sick, there's a doctor to maybe find a cure, or the person might pass away because there was not a cure. If you have money, you could fly around the world. Right. But here comes the most important thing. We need to put happiness back in this island. People need to smile again. Because there's no cure for happiness. The only cure for happiness is a great environment. Yeah. And when we have a great environment and people are smiling, all the money in the world will make you smile again. Right. Even if you have little, you will smile because everybody around you is smiling. And that's how we used to be in the 80s. That's right. That's why we were called the Friendly Island. That's right. But now, today, that no one is smiling, you can have all the money in the world, you're still going to be a very, very sad human being because everyone around you is sad. And it rubs off the whole visit. And it rubs totally off because that's what strangers talk today. Where's the Friendly Island, what it used to be? Right. So, bottom line, I know with the up party, and the way how the leader thinks, being working for him for years behind the scene, right. I know that with the whole team together, that we could change back St. Martin in the right direction and carry to the future where we need to carry it to. As a politician, once you put yourself up, in which that's the reason I did it, I should be a listening ear to everyone. I should look for a solution for every problem there is. And if I can't, I should be honest enough to tell them that I cannot solve it. And why the up party? Because the up party, the leader has put a good group together, a group that work behind the scenes a lot of time together, and he asked us to come forward and give him a helping hand. And that's why the up is about we and not about I.
Yeah. Silvio, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Bring it home.
All right.
Tune in to Update at 12:15 on Mondays and 5 p.m. on Wednesdays on SOS Radio, and on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. on 102.7 FM.